Hi there, I'm Shant Dashjian, and this is the MDN Curriculum Review. In the previous video, we had an overview of the curriculum as a whole. Today, we get started with the curriculum, focusing on the first module in the series. This is the Soft Skills module. The goal of this module is to help you develop a great attitude towards learning, collaboration, and researching. This will enhance your chances of success as a front-end developer. Let's get started. Soft skills are some good traits to have when entering the industry. As I mentioned, you want to develop the right attitudes that will increase your chances of getting hired and succeeding as a front-end developer. The first of the soft skills, and I think the most important, is having a constant learning mindset. As a front-end developer, you will be constantly learning. Why? Because the web itself is constantly evolving, and because web technologies are always changing. How do we stay up to date? You need to be reading regularly. Read technical news, blogs, and browser release notes. Let's go through a number of sites recommended by the curriculum for this. I also have a number of sites of my own to recommend. The first is the MDN blog. This has started last year, and it's a good source of the latest and greatest in web technologies. CSS Tricks started in 2007, and it's still a great source of information about web design and development. Dev.to started in 2016. It's community-driven, and it's also a great source of news and articles, not just about web development, but about programming in general. FreeCodeCamp is also a great source of news and articles about web development. Alistapart started in 1997, and it's still active. Smashing Magazine is a great place to find high-quality articles about web design and development. Code Academy has some good articles about web development and programming in general, and a great blog about career development and learning. I recommend that you check out web.dev. This is Google Chrome developers' own blog, and it's a great source of news about the latest and greatest in the Chrome browser as well as web development in general. SitePoint is a publishing site, but it also has a great blog to keep up to date with the current trends and technologies. Now you can choose to read one or more of those blogs regularly, or you can subscribe to a weekly newsletter that will accumulate many of those articles for you and deliver them to your inbox. I recommend you check out Front-End Focus for front-end news and articles, and JavaScript Weekly that is focused on JavaScript, providing great articles, news, and cool projects. In addition to reading technical news, blogs, and browser release notes regularly, spend some time for reading tasks and small research projects. Do this semi-regularly. Spend some time to acquire new skills, whether it's a new technology or a new version of a technology you already use. And overall, you need to be curious. When you're solving a problem, don't just get the solution, but figure out why the solution works. The next soft skill that we will look at is being open to embracing failure. This is very important. As you learn new things and try new technologies and build new projects, you will fail a lot of times. So embrace it. And for that, you need to have a safe space to be able to ask questions and get feedback. Find a local meetup group, for example, to experiment together with other front-end developers. For educators, the curriculum recommends that you give marks for process and extra marks for innovation. This will enable your students to try new things and not be afraid of making mistakes. Also, when you work, run intermediate show and tell, demos or reviews to get feedback on the progress you're making in your project. And lastly here, run retrospectives for continuous improvements. In my experience as a Scrum Master for 5 years, I've seen both of those points, show and tell, or what's called sprint reviews, as well as sprint retrospectives, being great opportunities to enable teams to make mistakes and learn from them and improve both their product and their process. I recommend you check out Scrum, which is an agile framework for software development. Here in this diagram, we see At the end of each sprint, we have an opportunity to review the product and the sprint review, and an opportunity to review the process and the sprint retrospective. A very important soft skill to have as a front-end developer is being able to do effective research. A lot of what you will do is looking up information on the internet and elsewhere. So you need to know how to do it effectively. Let's go through a number of recommendations and a number of resources to help us with this. The first place you should go when looking up information is the source. Learn to consult the documentation. Read the docs first. Here, it's important to know that there are 4 different kinds of documentation. You can check out this site. Divio.com has a great article on the documentation system, and I will summarize the 4 kinds of documentation here. First are tutorials. Those are learning oriented. Second, you have how-to guides, and those are problem oriented. You can have reference documentation. This is information oriented. And you could have topics or discussions. Those will be explanation or understanding oriented. Next, you need to learn how to Google things effectively. This article recommended by the Curriculum on The Guardian gives you great tips and tricks for effective Googling. From the article, you'll learn how to use exact phrases, how to exclude terms, how to use the OR operator, and other tips as well. It's not enough to search effectively. You need to choose valid information sources from the search results. The Curriculum recommends that you use sites like Stack Overflow and MDN. Stack Overflow is a very popular site in web development and programming in general. Here, developers post questions and answer questions related to different problems they are facing. This is a great source of information. When you come across an answer to a question, let's say on Stack Overflow, make sure the answer is not out of date. For example, if you're dealing with an issue in an Angular app and you look up a solution and you find it on Stack Overflow, make sure it's not an answer related to AngularJS. Use social media effectively. You want to build a helpful network of people on LinkedIn and other social media that help you find answers when you need them. Also, join community groups for answers, and we'll look at a number of recommendations here shortly. When you get help from others, you want to be able to reciprocate in the future. You want to help those who help you. And when you find a good answer, write about it, share it with the community, whether on LinkedIn or your own personal blog. Let's look at a number of community groups you can join to find answers. The first on the list is Scrimba. We mentioned Scrimba a number of times. Scrimba is not just a learning platform, but it's also a great community to join to find answers to your questions. FreeCodeCamp has a great Discord server you can join as well. Code Newbies is a great community to join for beginners. When you reach out to a teacher, a mentor, or a senior developer in your network, make sure to use their time effectively. Make sure you know their preferred way of communication, set a goal for the meeting or the interaction, and make sure you time box the interaction as well. A great recommendation by the Curriculum is to use the rubber duck approach. Let's take a look at the Wikipedia page here. In a nutshell, you'll put a rubber duck on your desk, and whenever you have a problem, you just lay it out to the duck. And the process of you explaining the problem a lot of times help you debug issues and find answers to your questions. It's 2024, and we have many AI tools now, like ChatGPT and Claude and many others. The Curriculum recommends that you use AI, but use it with caution. The reason being that those tools are great for research, but they don't have any reasoning ability and may also hallucinate when giving you an answer. The Curriculum emphasizes that you find the balance between learning on your own and solving the problems on your own and reaching out to others for help. Learn when to say, "I don't know," and ask for help from others with more experience than you. When it comes to learning and asking for help, the Curriculum has a great page here that has a lot of recommendations and resources. Let's go through them one by one. First, let's look at learning effectively. The first thing you'll learn is that there are 2 learning or thinking methods. Learn to do them separately. The first is focused learning. You use this for low-level learning, low-level details. You use this for a specific area or a topic you want to learn or master. For this, you want to dedicate a certain amount of time for learning. The other way of learning is the diffuse method. This is used for high-level learning and for making new connections. For you to be able to use diffuse learning, the curriculum recommends that you go out for coffee or for a walk. Let your brain wander. This is how your brain makes those connections. This is also a good reminder for you to take regular breaks. Next, we look at different learning materials. Generally, you will end up having a hybrid approach using different learning materials, not just one. The first on the list is textual articles, reading articles. Remember, you are not expected to remember everything. There is so much information out there for you to remember. Instead, focus on problem solving and learning patterns that you keep seeing over and over again. The second kind of learning material is videos. YouTube first is king. Here, the curriculum recommends a number of channels. Let's take a look at them. First is the Layout Land channel. This is a great channel, has high quality videos. It has not been active for a number of years, but the videos here are very useful. The Mozilla Developer channel is also a great source of information. The Chrome for Developers channel is a great source of information for web development. I also recommend FreeCodeCamp's YouTube channel. Here we see that I have my own course just published on FreeCodeCamp's channel, Learn Claude AI. In addition to videos, the curriculum recommends using interactive code playgrounds. Those are also good for sharing your code with others. Let's look at a number of sites recommended here. Code Academy is first. Code Academy is a great learning platform for interactive learning. You learn by doing as you go along in the course. MDN Playground is a great place to try things out. JS Fiddle is also a good one to try things out and share your code. And I recommend Scrimba. Again, a very popular and a great platform for interactive learning. It also can be used as a code playground to share your code with others. Not mentioned, but worth mentioning, is books. Books remain a great learning material to learn new technologies. Also, online courses on sites like Pluralsight and Front-End Masters are great learning materials. Next, let's look at making a plan. You start with setting a SMART goal. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Set a goal for your learning. For example, I want to become a front-end developer in a year. Figure out what materials and knowledge you need. Figure out how much time and money you will need to spend to achieve your goal. Next, you go into more details and look at how many hours per week you will be spending on your learning. After you have that detail, write down your plan, keep a weekly record of your progress, set sub-goals to help you along the way, and adjust your plan as needed. To reach your goal, it helps a lot to stay motivated. So how do you stay motivated? You want to keep your learning or work environment productive. Choose a nice desk and chair for your work. Remove any distractions. Keep your smartphone out of the room while you're learning. Take regular breaks. For example, take 15 minutes every 60 or 90 minutes of learning or work. Stay healthy. You want to eat well, exercise well, and sleep well. Reward yourself. For example, if you like hot chocolate, reward yourself with a nice cup of hot chocolate after 3 hours of learning. A great way to stay motivated is to co-learn, as in learn with others and demo your work to others. If you're at school learning web development or programming, you already have a good context to learn with others and demo your work regularly. Otherwise, you can join a local meetup, learn with others, and present your work there in events. You can go to meetup.com and find local groups focused on web development and JavaScript, for example. Next, the curriculum has good recommendations about effective problem solving. Learn to break things down into chunks. If you have a big project to build, break it down into smaller pieces until each piece is doable by itself. Learn and recognize the patterns that you keep seeing while learning and building. Write down the solutions. Keep a code repository of those patterns and solutions. You could also use DevTools to see the solutions others have used in their own websites and applications. Lastly, an important part of learning is to keep practicing. You need to be coding regularly. Let's look at getting help. First on the list is effective Googling. We mentioned this earlier, but here we see other recommendations. Be specific. Use your error messages in your search. Stack Overflow, as we mentioned, is a great site to find solutions to problems. If somebody else asked the question, find the answers there. If not, ask the question yourself. It's also a good idea to do some browser testing to see if the error appears only in one browser or other browsers as well. A great place to get help is using the MDN documentation. Also recommended is finding help in other online resources. For example, MDN community channels is a great place to find help. SitePoint has great forums where you can find help from other developers. WebDeveloper.com has good forums as well. It's also a good idea to follow influential people on X and LinkedIn. Lastly, and we mentioned this a number of times before, joining physical meetups is a great place to get help. The next soft skills we will look at is teamwork and collaboration. This is a very important skill. Unless you're planning to work as a freelancer, you will be working on a team. So it is crucial that you learn how to work effectively with others. Let's look at a number of recommendations here. First, learn about empathy, humility, conflict resolution, and cooperation. At all times, stay polite and respectful. I recommend you check out this course, Conflict Resolution Skills, on Coursera to learn more about this. Practice giving and receiving feedback. Part of your job as a web developer will include giving and receiving code reviews, so practice giving and receiving those effectively. A great recommendation is practicing pair programming. Pair programming is one of the XP practices in which two developers work together on a programming task, one acting as the navigator, the other acting as the driver. To learn more about pair programming, I recommend you read this article from Code Academy about this practice. Learn about and practice planning and managing software projects. Here, I highly recommend that you read through the Scrum Guide, which, as I mentioned earlier, is an agile framework for software development. This is a short read, but it will give you a very good idea about Scrum and Agile in general. Blog about your work, share it, get feedback, and offer to help others with issues. Again, we see a recommendation about joining an online community. One community here, not mentioned before, is front-end developers. Let's take a look at the site. This too is a great community to join as a front-end developer. When joining those communities, practice asking and answering questions. Help other people as you seek help from others, and learn from the more experienced developers. Lastly, a great recommendation here is to join and contribute to an open source project. To learn more about what an open source project is, check out this article from FreeCodeCamp. It's a great beginner's guide on the topic. From this article, I picked a number of reasons why you should contribute to open source as a developer. It helps you sharpen your skills, it helps the community and your peers get to know you, and it helps you learn about project management. Next, let's look at succeeding in job interviews. The first recommendation here is to check out Scrimba's Getting Started module. This is the last module in Scrimba's front-end developer career path, and it's a great module that helps you with your LinkedIn profile, with your front-end job interviews, with your JavaScript interviews, and with your React interviews. Next, we look at learning effective job searching. You want to network, keep track of people you meet, and follow up on your connections. Create a portfolio site to showcase your work. All the projects that you've built, pick the ones that you're proud of and put them on the portfolio site. Of course, you need to have a good resume that showcases your skills and experience. Next, let's take a look at getting experience. How do you get experience coding and building things? Build real projects. You can contribute to open source. Try to get an internship. Try to do some freelancing. My own recommendation, join Chingu.io and practice building projects with other developers there. Work on building your online persona using your blog or social media. A great recommendation is to use LinkedIn.com. It's a great professional network for developers and other technology professionals. Practice answering coding and design interview questions. Here I recommend a couple of resources from FreeCodeCamp. The first is this coding interview prep course, and the other is this course, System Design for Beginners. Prepare anecdotes for behavioral interviews. Here I recommend you check out this course from FreeCodeCamp on the subject. It's very important to know the attributes hiring managers are looking for. They're looking for someone they can get along with, someone with a positive attitude, someone who's open-minded and works well in a diverse team, someone who's graceful when a decision does not go their way and able to align with the rest of the team for the greater good, someone who's a good communicator and relationship builder, and someone who is focused and a good problem solver. You need to be patient in the job search and the interviewing process. Here there are a couple of great resources as additional recommendations. The first is this complete guide on the technical interview, and this one is on Coursera, 30 technical interview questions and tips for answering. The next soft skill we will look at is understanding workflows and processes. It's important that you understand the big picture of the project that you're on. What to understand here? Understand and learn about typical tech combinations or tech stacks and system architectures. Take a look at this article recommended by the curriculum that helps you learn about tech stacks. You need to understand about the front end, the back end, the technologies used on the front end and the back end. Learn about typical processes for a technical project, including where different tools are used in those processes. For example, the process of UI design. What tools are used in UI design? Learn about typical job roles. Check out this article that helps you learn about different roles on your team and the importance of each role. Learn about common work management styles, whether it's Agile or Waterfall, whether it's Scrum or Kanban. Check out this article to learn more. Lastly on the list of soft skills is to know relevant contextual information. You want to gain a well-rounded and flexible perspective as a front-end developer. A couple of recommendations here is to understand why things are the way they are in web development. Study the relevant historical context. For example, why does the web use a document model with links? What is the historical context there? The other recommendation here is to study general programming concepts where relevant, like objects and loops. This concludes our review of the soft skills module. Today we went through the constant learning mindset, being open to embracing failure, effective research, collaboration and teamwork, succeeding in job interviews, workflows and processes, and relevant contextual information. In the next video, we will review the second module in the curriculum, and that is the environment setup module. Until then, be well.